rain country. God is good all the time. And I'm here to talk about green tomatoes and what you can do with them. Now, at the time I'm shooting this video, my plants are still putting on some tomatoes. They're definitely slowing down. So not all the tomatoes I have here are green. I did pick a couple of really green ones so I can just have some to show. But I have others in a state of ripening. A lot of times I will pull my tomatoes off the plant when they start getting even just a blush of color, and then let them ripen in the house, in the windowsill, so that my plants can focus on putting more into making either more tomatoes or into the tomatoes that are currently still on there. And I won't typically pick them this green while the plants are still producing. But if it's at end of the season and you still have a lot of green tomatoes on there, there's plenty you can do with them. Now, in most cases, I find just bringing them in the house before it freezes and putting them in the windowsill or windowsills. Sometimes I got to spread them out across a whole bunch of windows. Most of them will still ripen. Sometimes I'll get a few that won't. And if you prefer red tomatoes, then, for their many uses, then that is one option. Some people will wrap each one individually in paper and put them somewhere, or stick them in a paper bag and put them in a dark place. I've tried all those and I found that they ripen just as good on my windowsill. In fact, it's better because if I put them somewhere where I can't see them, I will forget about them. But if they're on my windowsill, especially my kitchen windowsill, I'm seeing them all the time, and I'm remembering to take the ripe ones out and stick them in the fridge, or use them up right away, or dehydrate them, or even make salsa like I got going on right here. So this is a salsa I just put up. But while I'm speaking of it, yes, you can use the green tomatoes to make salsa. You just basically have a salsa verde using green tomatoes instead of, or in conjunction with, your tomatillos. And you can do that. Though I have a video on making salsa verde using the tomatillos, I prefer red salsa overall. And so I like to have it. I like the color. I like the flavor a little better. That's just me. Anyway, so there are other uses. Now, a lot of people will go right to, fried green tomatoes. And yes, that is an option, and I do like to do that every once in a while as a special treat. It's not something I like to do a lot of, but it is good. You simply bread them with whatever your favorite flour or cornmeal or a mix of, or something else, and add some salt and pepper, and then just fry them. I would recommend, in this case, using a refined coconut oil because it won't add a coconut flavor, but it can handle heat, and it will keep them crisp for a longer period of time. If you fry them until they're nice and crispy on the outside. Then other types of oils that can handle high heat, like avocado, almond, and the like. But anyway, that's just my little tip there. But there's so much more you can do with them. Now, another thing I like to do is to make, usually I only do this maybe every other year, every few years, because it takes me a long time to go through it, but that is making a green tomato and zucchini relish, because usually I still have a lot of zucchini, as I do right now, to put up. And so I'll just mix the two together, and I do have a video on that I'll link to in the description box if you'd like to learn how I make my green tomato zucchini relish. I like it better than any store-bought cucumber relish that I've ever tried. But we don't go through a lot of relish, typically only in the summertime where we're doing beef franks or hamburgers and having a barbecue. Or I'm making potato salad, I will use it in that too. So that's why I don't need to put up a whole lot. But at any rate, that is one great option. So I'll link to my video on that in the description box as well. And then you can also, one of the first things I did years ago, so my pictures aren't great, was I tried fermenting them and making green tomato pickles, basically. And that is one option. I did like them. I wouldn't say it was my favorite. No, I don't have a video on it because I just did it the one year and I haven't done it since, because, I liked it okay. I did end up eating them all eventually, but just not my favorite thing. One of my favorite things, though, to do with them, if I'm going to use them green, is to just chop them up and use them as a side vegetable or use them with other vegetables. So let's say I'm doing something like a beef veggie bake, and I'll chop the green tomatoes up and throw them in there with the potatoes and the carrots and the beef, whether it be ground beef or maybe some home canned beef where I've got the pieces in there. And it's an easy dish just to throw together. And the green tomatoes are actually quite good in there. One thing about green tomatoes you'll find is when you bake them, that mellows out the flavor and they're not so tart, and so they can go quite well with a lot of things. Or you can chop them up and saute them with other vegetables to make a side dish like that, or to add into your fried rice. So I don't do that a lot, but I do like that from time to time. And so mostly for me, it's just trying to get as many to ripen as I can and use them red, mostly dehydrating and making the tomato flakes out of them that I then turn into sauces and much more. And one more thing I almost forgot is that years ago when I first started my channel, I had someone share with me a chutney recipe using green tomatoes, and so I decided to try it, make it, and do a video on it. And I only did it that one year because we're not really big chutney eaters, but it was good. And so I'll put that in the description box down below if you'd like to find that. And I think since she had typed the recipe out, I think that I might have copied and pasted it below that video. I don't remember for certain because it was about 9 years ago, 8 at the very least. So I'm not going to remember, but I'll still link to that video in the description box along with the other videos I'll be putting in there. And what I want you guys to do now are share with us in the comments down below, what are your favorite things to do with green tomatoes? Do you just try to ripen as many as you can? What's your favorite way to use to ripen them? Or do you like taking them green and doing things such as the relish and the salsas and the chutneys, and even using as a vegetable? Maybe something that I've totally didn't even think of yet. Please share those, because I wouldn't mind having a few more ideas myself, and others can learn from you as well. So thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.